terms of relation in IP legal framework to deal with IP matters, can you talk a little bit about the IP legal framework in Latin America?
Yeah, sure. Before, just to add one small observation about training. In the past, I'd say in the 90s, up to the 90s, most of WIPO's courses and trainings were very much centered on protection. This has been shifting towards management, which is something that I wanted to mention. And even for all regions, including Latin America and the Caribbean, we have been getting more and more demands for trainings centered on management. Not only protection, which I think it's by the way, it's the most difficult thing to do. No, it's the commercialization. Not as much. The protection is a step, and I think yeah.
That makes sense, because right now here, for example, in our experience in Brazil, all these that they call núcleo de inovação tecnológica, so the transfer technology office in the university, they are driving to do really the commercialization, not only to protect the patent or the inventions, but how to deal with this knowledge and to transfer that. So that's very important.
Lots of requests for IP valuation, not only licensing, but also development, the collaborative development agreements, which is broader than only licensing, service for hire, sponsored research agreements. CRADA, the model that the U.S. uses, the big labs in the U.S. use a lot the CRADA model, which is to develop together with the national institutions and the private sector. We are seeing many examples with the vaccines now, the platform of collaboration, and this among the many trainings that we've been implementing in Latin America and in other regions of the world. But going back to your questions, the legal, no, the judicial, the judicial sector. In 2018, end of the 18, WIPO established a judicial institute. So we have several activities targeting the judiciary sector. I'm not sure if your question is about the judiciary sector or more about the legal aspect, but I'll address both. So the judiciary sector is being covered by the Judicial Institute of WIPO. We have once a year a high-level forum of judges. This is going to take place actually next week, or yeah, if I'm not wrong. We have been also at the level of the regional offices implemented several activities for judges and for prosecutors as well, and also for practitioners, but in different ways, like the summer school one for the very junior practitioners. But there are other strategic partnerships, like for instance, I talk about Latin America specifically and the Caribbean. We have the CP, which is the Inter-American IP Association in the region, which is an association that dates back to the 60s. And we have a good collaboration with them, and we implement some trainings throughout the year, like patent drafting, how to use the PCT. So many different trainings for practitioners with this association. Most of them with the legal perspective. Most of this trainings that I just mentioned with the CP and the trainings, of course, that are established by the Judicial Institute. I wanted to mention also that we just launched a database called WIPO Lex Judgments.
Yes, I saw that. It's a great idea, yes.
And I was very pleased because this was a pilot project that was structured by 6 Latin American countries plus Spain. This initiative was born in the region, and it means that it's a database of leading decisions. Not all the decisions, the judicial decisions, are going to be. It's a case law of leading case law database. So countries are going. We have focal points, and the focal points are the ones sending us the information to be uploaded. So it's not like us linking our website or our database with the general database of a tribunal in Brazil or courts in some other countries. But it's only the leading case, the cases that are should be very useful for judges throughout the world to decide on very difficult cases or more controversial cases.
That's very nice. Moving for another topic, for example, how can we encourage business to take a strategic approach to their IP in terms of business right now?
Yeah, I think we have to approach in 2 ways, with data and information, because I think business, they want to know, why should I put time in learning about one topic? I'm thinking of the SMEs, because the big companies, they do know how to, or they have a more clear idea about their strategies. But of course, we are talking about a region, in the case of Latin America and the Caribbean, that 99% of the businesses are micro and SMEs. So not only SMEs. So talking about SMEs and micro MSMEs, we have to capture attention of people that don't have time. They're struggling to survive, and they have to understand the value of IP, and we have to be very strategic. We have to have data and information, and we have to have stories. I think these 2 things: data and information and stories, and a good supporting network. Because in the case of Brazil and other countries in Latin America, we have institutions that are, like SEBRAE in Brazil, are specialized in the provision of services to MSMEs. They are the ones for us to target, in my opinion. I mean, in terms of training, and in terms of because and the SMEs and MSMEs, we have to have general messages, very general, and to capture their attention. But the SEBRAEs and the other institutions in the region that give or provide services, we have to, in a way, to target them so that they can create capacities internally, not also in a general terms. Of course, maybe the company will need to hire out a specialist when they decide to do to protect in a certain way their assets, but they need to know in general terms what to do. And the first stop will be institutions that provide services. We have been working with them, and in the region, we just, as I'm here, and there's a webinar taking place for users and MSMEs in Latin America, with more than 400 participants. I just heard from a colleague. But the target is the people that work in SEBRAEs and other institutions throughout the region. These institutions, they are providing services in other topics. They are providing services on how to structure a business model, business plan, how to use, how to adequate their strategies vis-a-vis standards. They're getting information about access to markets, about financing, no, the credit, how to access credit, but they are not getting much information and services about IP. And it's not uncommon to see small and medium enterprises that at one point they think they're considering going abroad, and they don't have a strategy to protect their trademarks. So it's as basic as that. Yeah, we are working with the.
I have some experience with Serai as a consultant, trying to transforming ideas in business, and I see that have a great gap there. Well, they work a lot with business model, but before that, how to protect the idea, how to deal with this is still a challenge. So, and what are your advice for IP practitioners that want to pursue his career and become an IP expert?
Yeah, I think the first message would be understand IP in a strategic way. So don't, we talked about that in the beginning. So do not see IP with the lens of only the lens of legal and technical, but also the lens of innovation and economics. So I think it's a challenge because, of course, in our countries, maybe I'm talking again about the region, the Latin American region and the Caribbean. We train lawyers, we train engineers, we train biotechnologists. We do not train lawyers, biotechnologists, or lawyers, engineers, as the U.S., for instance. The U.S. system, before you're a lawyer, you have to be you have to have another degree before. So there are many engineers that are lawyers also, many biotechnologists that are lawyers. And so people that have a technical and a legal degree are not uncommon, on the contrary, in the US. It's not the case in Latin America, which forces us, I think, so my first message is be multidisciplinary. Try to have a understanding or a vision towards IP as a multidisciplinary topic. Of course, you're going to land with your own, each of practitioner will land in their own specialties, no? But try to understand IP in this holistic way. This is the first message. The second is learn a foreign language, because IP is an international topic. IP is not, if you think about other maybe subjects, they are more centered in the national and regional levels. You can survive with that, but I think for IP is not like that. IP is more international. It depends on an international system. So I think I would advise strongly to learn other languages as one small advice as well. And combine training skills. You know, don't try to get training not only if you are a lawyer, not only in legal aspects, but also in business aspects. Understand the business is very important to land a good legal solution. Otherwise, you're going to take out of your drawer a contract or a solution that might not fit the main challenges of a particular business.
No, that's true. Well, we are finally trying to stop. Okay, uma pausa. Respira. Okay. In terms of how important is this kind of initiative of the IPPC to promote the innovation and the IP awareness? How you can talk about this kind of non-profit organization trying to to do a work like that?
Well, I think what you're doing shows. I'm gladly. I mean, I gladly see this kind of initiative as an evolution of the topic as well, because IP, or if you look back in the 90s or the 80s, it was a topic very much. I don't want to use the word captured, because it seems that it was hidden, but it was for some professionals, and even within the legal, even if you take the legal and the law schools, IP was a very small part of the commercial, the trade law or the commercial. And I think this is something that has changed in the last years. I hope it will keep changing and changing towards, as I said before, a more open view towards IP, or a more or putting IP in context. So IP is not only this small place there. It's more. It's related to business. It's related to capturing value. It's related to. It's not only about a patent filing, the filing of a patent, or about a trademark. It's about the branding strategy of a company. It's about also competitiveness of a country. So I think I see the role of a consortium like yours very crucial, because you are global, as IP is global. You are multidisciplinary, as IP should be seen as a topic for several disciplines. No, and I only hope you can strengthen the consortium, and that we can collaborate with you and in you. And I saw in the documents you sent me before, you have a close also collaboration with governments, each one of you in your own countries. So I think this is also very important to push the topic and to enlarge the use of the IP system, not only for some countries that already are very much and doing very well in using the system, but for other countries that are still to discover how to take value from IP.
Okay, thank you very much. To wrap this up, please tell us your final remarks. If you want to talk, feel free to do some points.
Well, I talked so much already. I don't want to. Yeah, it's. I think it's very rewarding to see the evolution of the IP system, not as a system in terms of the legal framework, but as a topic that has been, as I said, being taken to different venues and being part of the subject matter of even school kids that are starting to understand the importance of the IP as a possibility for them to, in the future, to capture value out of creativity, for instance. So I just want to finish with a message about the creative industries, because I think we talked a lot about the patents and trademarks, about business, but sometimes we forget this part of IP, which is very much strategic for developing countries. No, the creative industries, which is I'm talking about the architecture, the TV, the movies, music, software. No, software is a way. Video games. So I think in the digital era, now we are seeing how important platforms like this that is allowing us to engage and to discuss IP matters are going to be the future. So and I think this is a window of opportunity that might be opening for developing countries, because it does not require more than their minds. And I think I would like to finish with a message about creative industries, which I think it's very much strategic, and the digital economy, which is opening a new era for all of us professionals of any field, so that we can use technology to communicate, to improve our connections. The pandemic has forced us, and I think we have learned very fast how valuable this knowledge related to this industry will be. And yeah, I'll finish with that.
Okay, thank you very much, Beatriz, for your participation. It was an honor to have you here with us in the IPPC. And maybe in a next event, we have you also with us. And I invite you to and I invite you to text us your comments or suggestions at ippc.pioneers@gmail.com. Thank you very much for your attention.